born in Freetown, the historic city in Sierra Leone. I was raised by my grandmother, following some very interesting life narratives. I lived in Sierra Leone for the first 8 years of my life. Lest I forget, my father is Liberian, my mother is Sierra Leonean. So I'm an African through and through.
Wow.
After the first 8 years of my life, my grandma and I survived the civil war in Sierra Leone, and we found our way to Nigeria. In Nigeria, we already had connections by reason of marriages to Nigeria. So I would interestingly add to that link, that connection, by several years later, getting married to yet another Nigerian of the Benin descent, a great and godly man, I must say. And as of today, we are blessed with two gracious boys. So I'm proudly African wife and mother. Being raised by my grandma, she was a disciplinarian. In fact, for 35 years, she was in the police force in Sierra Leone. And she would say to me that for 30 years, not for 35 years, not once was she summoned on account of a wrong. That for her was a record, and she kept on ringing it in my head. But did my grandma cane me? I honestly would say that I know she did a few times. In fact, one time as a teenager, I was beginning to grow wings, and she landed me a slap that took off one of my teeth. But that was in my teen years. But I remember vividly as a child how my grandma corrected me. Each time I share it, persons thought it was odd, perhaps strange. My grandma exposed me to her faith very early, our Christian faith. So each time I erred, she would open the scriptures to me and show to me what I had done wrong. And it always happened that I would get sober and cry. And so she would say to me, now you kneel down and you talk to the God whom you have sinned against. And it worked every time. So for me, how I was majorly disciplined is that my grandma would point me to God as the one that I had sinned against. I yield the mic. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I think that the definition that we have been given would suffice. But what has changed? The Naira, the CDs. When those things began to be a challenge for us, and mothers began to rise from their stools and benches in the home and went searching for more money, that's where it started from. And it was in a bid to save the day, really. It was with a good intention. When mothers needed to spend more time outside getting more money, that is where the problem started from. And then this box that was once called the devil's box, which we have found not to exactly be so, but when mommy is not at home and there is access to it, it can truly be the devil's box. Yes. Because at that time, it exposes the innocent mind to all forms of pollution. That is where the chasm began. It began to break. You know, it's like how the scripture, I am a woman, I'm a person of faith, I'm a woman of faith. It was handed down to me. It's what I have, and it's what I can hand down to my children. It's like a crack in the wall. And it began to extend. When the adults who had influence over our children, like their teachers, like their home tutors, like the adults you could have entrusted them to take them for rehearsal, when they had begun to yield their hearts to the pollution on the TV, to the extra ambitions, you know, the desire to explore, and then they began to extend their negative influences on children, that is another point where the chasm began to widen. And then when the pairs, those who are meant to be your child's pair, but knows far more than your child, because the home they are coming from, there isn't a mom. And then the older siblings, the cousins who come around, have been exposed. You see, it's like a circle, and it began from a home. It began from 2 homes, 3 homes. The mothers became desperate. They need to find a way to feed. That is where the problem started from. That is the chasm. And for me, honestly, I am very positive that there are other ways it can be solved. But one way I have found to solve mine, which I am currently working on, is that I want to have whatever source of income would meet me where I am present with my children is sufficient for me. I am content with it. If you're going to give me any opportunity that will take me away from my children, and then they are growing and I'm not seeing what is influencing their growth, and they're having certain understandings that I cannot vouch for, I beg you, take that billion away. Because my scripture tells me that in the end, I am the one that will still benefit. I'm still the one that will suffer what they would become. What would the millions do for me at that time? So I'm present. I'm realizing that one of my sons is very assertive. That young man is assertive. He saw his brother spill out meat. I placed it in the plate. I reached out for another chunk of meat. That was not what his brother spat out. My son refused to take meat from that same plate because his tiny 3-year-old brain tells me that meat is the one his brother spat. If I wasn't there, nobody could explain it to me. But what am I realizing? So when I see challenges, I see my second son, he's quite, how do I put it? I need to get this thing done my own way. When I see the challenge, I now know, okay, there's a challenge in my hand. I need to look for solution. But if I'm not there, if I don't realize, oh my God, my son needs to be managed in this way. If I'm not present, how would I know what we need to treat? So I think that mothers, I honestly cannot, it's not very easy for me to say, oh, mothers, take your portfolio and come and use it at home. But I have made the choice that whatever I can do from my home, sometimes I compare events, and sometimes I go with my children, then other times it's weekend. I need to be quick and come back home. The money you're giving me is for them. Their priority. I'm not going to go out there and get opportunities and I'm leaving them. They are growing, they are being influenced. I don't know by what. I think.
Thank you very much again. The social media is flashy. Every time I turn on my device, I see mothers doing many things. And sometimes you're wondering, should I bake this color of cake for my son's birthday? Should I even bother? Should my son do this? Does it even matter? There's so much fast paced display of awesome motherhood. Everyone is portraying this is the best kind of motherhood. And I've lost count of how many times I tell myself, Zoe, focus, calm down and focus. Right now, I'm homeschooling my children. It's an agreement between my husband and I for the first few years of their lives before they are influenced by formal school. I am not a teacher, so there are certain skills I do not possess. But I'm educated, so there are certain things I know. So when I consult the social media, I pick this and I pick that. I started telling myself, I can pick and choose. I don't have to take it all in. My son does not have to celebrate his first birthday because that's what every 21st mother does. It's not a value to my husband and I. My children don't have to wear new clothes every Sunday. My children, what I've been telling myself, which has been causing me to calm down, let me put it that way, is Zoe, God gave you these children. He looked at you as you are, and gave you this particular child. There is something you are capable of if you yield yourself to him. God saw me. He saw my inabilities. He saw my weaknesses. He saw my structure. He saw my frame. He saw my husband and I. He saw our marriage. And he gave us 2 boys and said, raise them for me. I am persuaded fully that even if I make mistakes in this journey, of course they are not going to be deliberate, but because my heart is sincere, I'm not going to run and follow what is the norm. No, I am going to keep my eyes fixed on what has been handed down to me, which is my faith. I'm going to stay with my husband because I have these children with him. I am sticking in this marriage. I'm staying married with my husband. I am going to look at my children's gifts and talents. I'm going to help them discover it and work with them to deploy it, because that's also something that is important. I'm also going to help my children initiate valuable friendships. I am opening my doors to valuable boys and girls. I have sons. But I know that one of the blessings my husband and I have is we have valuable friendships that date to our childhood. Friendships are important. I'm not going to shut my children out from having friends. No. In fact, I'm going to look at a good girl in their school and a good boy in their school and say, you know what? Who is your mom? I want you to be my son's friend. I'm going to initiate valuable friendships and nurture them. I'm going to love my sons. I ring it in their ear. I sing it. I display it. I show it, because I know that once upon a time in my life, when I was bent on going the wrong way, the love my grandma had for me was enough to keep me in check. So those are the things I am focusing on. It's a fast-paced generation. I'm a mother, and everybody's a mother. Everybody's doing so many things. Everybody, there's photo shoots for everything. There's so much glitz and glamour. But I am not going to be moved. I'm going to stick my feet here with my husband, with what has been given to me as I am, and I'm going to trust God to raise my children for God, so that they become fully who they were meant to be. It's a 5-pillar system. 1, pass on your deep conviction. Embedded in those your convictions, particularly for someone like me who is a person of faith, embedded in those convictions are values. So pass them on. Also, you are married. Stick together. It is vital. It is a pillar of support. It's a system that will enable you raise that child properly. Encourage valuable friendships for your child. Actively initiate it. You see a valuable child, you see their parents, you see a family in your church, you see a family in school, you like what they do, how they do it. Encourage a friendship for your child on their behalf. Also, discover, train, and deploy your child's genius and talents. It's essential. My grandma gave me my microphone and my pen. I do not have time to show you or tell you how, but she did it for me. I owe it to my children. Finally, love them, say it, express it. My name is Octavia Obazee. I encourage young mothers like myself to journal our journey into motherhood. It has its values. It enables your child know that it's not just another child that has been born. Everything about them from pregnancy till they were born is unique. And so if at any time my child ceases to understand his uniqueness, I would show to him what I have written as his mother. This is how unique you are from before you were born. So I encourage mothers to be a part of Journal My Journey. I compare events. I compare corporate events, wedding events. I love to be at the beginning of new homes. And I also compare children events. When I'm there, I am encouraging them. I am loving them. I'm inspiring them right there at their parties. Also, I preserve the life stories of noble men and women on all platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. You'll find me there, Octavia Obazee. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Bye.